Good evening, good evening. Hope you guys are doing well. Hey, it's cold in South Africa, but welcome to BackChat. My name is Tema Madima. Today I'll be chatting to Lehann Fourie. I see you, Lehann. We're just gonna welcome him on and then we're gonna get chatting. So Lehann, just send me an invite and we're gonna get going. I hope everybody's doing good. I'm gonna send Lehann an invite now and then we're gonna get going. It's a cold day in Afrique du Sud. Yeah, so we've got an interesting chat coming up with Lehann today. So we're gonna be talking about, amongst his running, we're also gonna be talking about finances and how to manage yourself as an athlete. You know, I think it's very important that we get those conversations going as well. Tumisang, I see you. Pemelo, I see you. Wayne Bozu, I see you. Sam Classic, hope you guys are doing well. Vimpi, Wayne, I see you guys. Thanks for joining. We're just waiting for Lehann to just accept the invite and then we're gonna get started. So today we're gonna be talking to Lehann Fourie. Obviously, he's a co-founder of Backtrack as well, and he's also a former Olympic Games 110 meter finalist. I'll do a full introduction of him as well now. I'm just waiting for him to get going. Welcome to BackChat. My name is Tema Madima. Tonight we're gonna be speaking to Lehann Fourie, and make sure to ask your questions. Lehann.
Hey, how are you, man?
I'm well, and you? How you doing?
Yeah, good. Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It's a real privilege to be on this side and to be on this legendary show. I'm quite excited to talk to you.
Yeah, always exciting. This feels more like a video call than a back chat.
Yeah, it's just we're not talking business. You know, there's a few other people listening, so no business.
All right, I'm gonna do a quick introduction to everybody who's watching, so they can know who we're dealing with over here. So I'll do that. I'm sure you haven't heard an introduction in a while, but this should be fun.
No, it's been quite a while.
All right, so with us over here, we've got Lehann Fourie, the Olympic Games finalist in the 110 meter hurdles, World Indoor Games finalist, 110 meter, oh no, it should be 60 meter hurdles,
Yes.
African Championships gold medalist in the 110 meter hurdles, World University Games silver medalist, African under 20 bronze medalist in the 110 meter, national champion in the 110 meter, and the former, this is my favorite one, former African record holder in the 110 meter hurdles.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lehann Fourie.
Thanks so much for having me. The former is just because we have some really good talent in South Africa, so it would have been nice to be the current, but former is also good. You know, at least I had it for a while.
Yeah, you had it for a while, man. African record holder, that's a big thing, man. So let's talk about that before we get into other stuff. What did it feel like being like the African record holder in 110 meter hurdles?
You know, I think it's something that, I knew I could reach, and the particular year I took it, I was getting closer and getting closer and getting closer. And the race that I actually did it was the world record race, where it ran 12:8. And, that was also interesting for me to see the gap in the best ever to me, It's difficult, on a simulation to see where you are. But it was such an amazing race. And I actually hit the last hurdle and I actually fell over the line. So I definitely could have ran a little bit faster, but I was running in between two of the biggest guys in the sport, David Oliver and Ansel Parchment, so three big guys, sharing the small lanes. So that's definitely something that, that I was aiming for and that I was happy to achieve.
That's amazing, man. Thanks to everybody who's joining. Oh, Smitty. I see you too, Smitty. We've got Lehann over here.
No business.
Side of the camera. Jane Tipo, I see you all the way from New Zealand. Ruan van der Walt, Thanks for joining, guys. So we're gonna be chatting, as I said, to Lehann. Lehann, obviously, you're also a co-founder of Backtrack. I don't know if many people know that. But before we get into that, man, let's get into a quick game just to get your mind a bit going. You said no trick questions. This isn't a trick question. It's just a game.
I like games. It's fine.
All right. So it's 30 seconds. Everybody's played the game. Very simple. Lead up to Olympic Games, obviously, you were a full-time athlete at the time. What is in your bag? 30 seconds. Name as much things in your training bag or your competition bag as possible. In 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Okay, spikes. There's laces. There's a spike screw. There's a towel. There's beads. There's smaller earphones. There's my MP3 player, my cell phone. Some form of supplement and water. Always ibuprofen with me. Always painkillers.
Keep going.
And probably accreditation. Accreditation. Your room key because you're staying in a hotel.
Come on.
Yes, and probably that's about it.
And
my bag's not that big,
That's impressive, man. The record is actually 14. You gave 13 stuff. I'll watch the replays to make sure that everything is sorted.
Yeah, but remember, I had two spikes, and that might be two, or that's 2 laces.
Okay.
So I think a recount will be good.
We'll do a recount later, but yes, I'm impressed, man. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Smitty says, "What's in the business bag? Do you keep your spikes in the business bag as well?"
Business bag, laptop, iPad, some form of diary. So no spikes there. I'm trying to travel light, in business. So.
All right, it's cool, man. Like one of the important things to hear, I think, for a lot of the people that are on here, especially young athletes and that type of thing, before we even get into the finance things or side of things as well, I would want them to know about the transition, from being a Olympic Games finalist into the working world. I'll get to that. I'm not going to ask that now.
Okay.
What I want to know now is like your build up to the Olympics was a crazy. Every time I hear the story, I can't believe it, man. Can you just like give a bit of a breakdown on that?
Yeah, so I was training in the US at that stage in South Carolina, and I prepared for the World Indoors Championships in 2012, and I did fairly well. Got 7th in the final. And then I was, because it's the Olympic year, I was forced to come back to South Africa. And so I had to travel all the way just to run at essays. And I didn't give myself that much time to recover after the flight. And I started, training maybe a day or two after that, getting ready for essays. And I actually blew out my quad, where I tore my quad. And, so I already qualified. I ran one race in the US, but it was a wind-aided race, so I didn't actually qualify for the Olympic Games. At that stage, I ran top 10 in the world, but I didn't actually qualify according to standards. So it was quite a rush to get back. Eventually I qualified. Running probably 3 or 4 different races per week. Just to get a time. Qualified, and then went with the team to London, and I think I was also focused, overworked that my body just started to shut down, and the doctor said I shouldn't do anything for the next 3 weeks leading up to games. So normally you would try and sharpen up, but now nothing. Everybody's out in training, and I'm laying in a hotel doing nothing. And I think looking in hindsight, that was actually a blessing, for me to actually just sharpen myself, to ease up a little bit. And I managed to reach the final. I definitely think I could have done a little bit better if my fitness was better, if my, if I wasn't as injured, definitely could have done better.
Yes, it's like that story, like it blows my mind, man. You were resting while everybody was training. And you still the final, and I mean, I think that was a brilliant year. I think the same year, I think it was the next competition or 2 competitions after you went on to break the
Yeah, so that was probably
SA
about
record.
3 competitions after that. Then I broke the SA record. So in the semi-final, I ran 13:28, which was my PB at the time, and then 13:27 2 or 3 times, and then 13:24 at that stage.
Sure. No, man, that's impressive.
Yeah,
Dean
pleasure.
Smith, I see you. Sifarzo, #1 supporter. Sifarzo is watching as well. Thanks, guys. Tepo, Ryan Pillay. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate you guys watching. Big up. And another question. So obviously you've told us like build up to the Olympics. Um, Before we get to the finals, I wanna like the transition. Obviously, you're a professional athlete. You're at the peak pretty much of your career. African record holder, SA record holder, what Olympic Games finalist. Everything is. I mean, you're pretty much at the peak of your career, and then you
Yeah.
make the transition. What led to the transition, and what are you doing currently now? Besides, obviously, we know you are a co-founder of Backtrack, but what do you do on a day-to-day basis as well?
Yeah, so, I was unfortunate to actually get an injury at the Lausanne Diamond League, or just after the Lausanne Diamond League in 2013, So before that race,
Yeah.
I didn't know that this was going to be my last race. I didn't plan for my retirement, and then all of a sudden, you're done. And that's also what I love, what I'm doing now. I'm a certified financial planner, helping people, assisting them with the finances and also the emotional side of actually making any transition.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something that I love, that what I'm doing at the moment, So I'm a wealth manager with Deca Wealth Management and also a rep with SFP Wealth. We're doing succession financial planning for some of the older brokers. So basically I work with people's money, and quite enjoy it.
Yeah. Obviously, the wealth management and that type of things. I've got a few questions over here that I think are going to help, especially if you look at young athletes. So, very simple question, like you're a young athlete and you sign your first contract. Obviously, there comes a time where you must sign your contract. And
Yeah.
what advice would you give to the athlete? Obviously, you signed the contract. You've got this money all of a sudden. First thing you want to do is you want to buy the latest shoes, you want to buy the best car, you want to buy whatever. What advice would you give from the financial side of things to help these young athletes like manage their finances better,
Yeah. I think similar to sitting with your coach before the beginning of the season and, going through your goals for the year, it's extremely important to sit with your agent and sit with your financial planner to have the similar goals with your money. Know which expenses is going to be big, what is your possible income for the year, and you just plan that type of stuff, because the reality is that poor financial planning leads to you actually focusing on money and not on your goals in athletics and not your passion. That actually happened to me quite a few times where before a race, you actually think this race can set me up for life, or if you run well, you can make some money, and then you totally, in your subconscious, totally, sidetracked from what you're actually there to do. Because especially in my event, you nick a hurdle and someone dips you for 100,000 or 200, 100,000 rand, 50,000 rand, 10,000 rand. It makes a big difference. With 20,000 rand between 0.01 seconds is a big thing. So I think in your contract, normally all the contracts will look a little bit different, but in your contract you will have a base payment and then also a bonus structure. So always tell people to focus on the base payment and make sure that you reach your budget with that. Something like that happened with COVID right now. Athletes aren't really running. You're not really running the times that you should. If you bargained on hitting the bonuses, you're not really preparing yourself. So also the other thing that a lot of young athletes don't really know, your contracts come in maybe every 6 months or maybe once a year, and all your winnings and your appearance money, everything gets invoiced at the end of the season. So now you get this large sum of cash and you don't really know what to do with it. For a young guy who maybe grew up with nothing, or it's a big thing. And then obviously, as you mentioned, you blow it on the first thing, but without really sitting with anyone and planning this out.
That's I mean that's it's such valuable advice, you know, coming from obviously being a professional athlete yourself, and also from the side where you obviously managing people's finances and wealth. What do you think is like one of the most common mistakes that young athletes might be, you know, very prone to make, you know?
Yeah, I think big ticket items, you know, and also expecting you're going to make a lot more money, you know, because I'm 20 now, and this is only the start. I just got my first contract. I'm going to win the Olympics, and I'm going to make this money. I'll always make back what I'm spending now. You know, and I think that's a big mistake. You know, so I always tell people to work with what you've got now, rather than you know, just thinking of spending your future money right now. You know, so I think that's one of the biggest mistakes. And just on average, the you know, the money you make in track is not as much as in soccer or in rugby or something like that. You know, so you have to take it upon yourself to use what's been given to you, and really make a difference in your own life. You can set yourself way apart from all your friends with the talent that you've been given.
Yeah, no, that's solid advice. Smitty is saying YOLO, make money, money.
Obviously, the guy driving a Porsche would say something like that, but I'll talk about that later.
It's very important what you're saying about, like, you know, managing your finances and managing the money. Obviously, when you're young, you know, George Kushka, we see you, Georgie just joined.
Nebraska.
You know, when you sign a big contract, you think obviously the money's gonna come in. You adding the bonuses, you adding all that stuff. But I mean, reality of it, like you said, your career within one race, you know, that you had to pretty much, it was the end of your career, and no athlete plans for that. I mean, we think we're gonna be young forever, we're gonna run forever, but valuable advice, man.
So not just on the financial side, but on the mental side as well. You know, preparing yourself. You know, just not, you know, for the life after athletics, but we'll get to that. You know, but
that's true. So like, obviously, with budget is something that is very important. How would you like assist the athletes to budget? You know, obviously we've got a lot of young athletes in SA. They get our athletes actually, I think they get scouted at a very young age, which is a good thing. But the difficult thing for them is that all of a sudden they've got grown-up decisions to make. You know, you just came from running for your high school. It was nice, and the next thing you turn 20, you in South Africa, and you signing some form of contract. You know, it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. But like, how should they budget and like use their money better from a wealth management side of things?
Yeah, I think that, you know, setting up a budget is extremely important. You know, it's basically just telling your money where to go rather than afterwards wondering where it went. You know, especially for a young athlete, as I mentioned before, you have to be, you're part of your team. There has to be someone who can work with finances, you know, or at least trust your agent with your money, helping you with that type of decisions. You know, I think the problem in South Africa, our schooling system don't really teach you about personal finance. You know, they don't really teach you about budgeting, about tax, about you know, any of that type of stuff. You know, so that's important to set up a budget. It doesn't have to be fancy. You just have to make sure that you're not spending more than what you actually earn. You know, and I think that's the key that a lot of people you completely forget about. You know, so in general, you know, a track budget is a little bit different than a normal civilian budget like myself. You know, because you have to take into account you're paying your coach, your agent, nutrition, eating healthy is more expensive. You know, having a healthier lifestyle is more expensive than me just going and have a pizza. You know, so in general, it gets a little bit more expensive, and you can get carried away with all the different stuff that you know, that you don't really take into account. So a normal budget would look at say about 50% that you spend on your needs, which is your housing, your cars, your transportation, maybe your cell phone, food. 30% on your wants, you know, that's all the nice to haves, and 20% setting aside for Sunday. You know, that's just a normal budget. An athlete's budget would look a little bit different, you know, because you have so much cash that you're getting in a short term, and it needs to last you longer.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, that's true. It's not easy. I mean, I think it's even to predict how much you make in a season is very difficult as well. All right, guys,
Yeah.
if you're watching, please just make sure ask your questions. I mean, we've got a wealth Lehann Fourie over here. He does wealth management as well. So if you're a young athlete or even a seasoned athlete, and you just need advice on how to manage your finances better as an athlete, contracts, all that type of stuff, make sure to ask the questions. I do have a few that were asked before that. So please ask your questions. This is some valuable insight, man, because I think
and
a
even
lot
afterwards, afterwards, guys can message me on social media. I'm not that social, but at least you can ask any questions. So.
That's at Lehann Fourie. Yeah, they can get you a Leon there for questions as well. Antoinette van der Merwe, I see you. Gerard Bezaidenot, Claim Brayton, Blessing, TJ. Thanks for jumping on, guys. Really appreciate it. Zagiri Nene, I think I mentioned you. So I want to ask, when I move away from the finances just for a bit, and I want to ask this. Obviously, you came from America, and athletics in America is like it's a totally, I mean, what we have here, I think our schooling system is very good.
Yeah.
But when you look at the American school as well as the university system, I mean, it's fantastic. Can you just tell us what inspired you from being that side to wanting to come back to South Africa and try implement it here? I mean, with EC Active as well as Backtrack Sports,
Yeah, I think they have a holistic approach at looking at your life, not just focusing on your sport or just your academics, but they focus on life skills and giving back to the community and, just everything around having a balanced lifestyle as an athlete, and I definitely think it gave me perspective, of all the, the life after athletics. And I think it made the transition a little bit easier, because they start preparing you for life after athletics,
Yeah,
and that's when we got back to 2012, we started with EC Active or Eagles Club, me and Aaron Schmidt. And, basically both of us studied in the US in Nebraska and just seeing the professional level, just managing everything around it. And, then getting the legendary Themba Madima involved and Adrian and, the guys involved. And I think Backtrack grew to something that we didn't really think it's going to grow that much. I think the main thing, I really wish there was something like Backtrack when I was still running, to get exposure and exposure for an athlete and having a little bit of a network between like-minded individuals, discussing things like this, having these conversations that a lot of athletes are wondering about, and you don't really know who to ask. So I think it's because we saw the need in something like this because it's really something that we wanted, and that's why we created it. And as you know, I'm excited about what we're planning. And I think the viewers should be excited as well. And definitely watch this space. So.
Big things coming. George Priska is asking over here, how was your experience at Nebraska? Obviously, George is ex-Nebraska. Is also in Nebraska. Schmidi also in Nebraska. Tell us, how was your experience there?
I think it was a shock in the beginning, because you're in warm South Africa and now you're going basically to the free state of the US. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's fairly flat and extremely cold. But it's probably the best experience of my life. If there's any portion of my life that I'll want to take over and do over, it's that portion. I think just being away from home and experiencing athletics a different way and experiencing life and the American house parties like it's on the TV, that type of stuff you always wonder about, and experiencing all of that was definitely worth it. And I still have such a love for Nebraska, and I follow the football, follow the athletes. So I'm definitely a proud Husker. So.
Go Big Red.
Yep, that's it. Yeah, and I think just that a lot of South Africans don't really know. You know, the level of professionalism in athletics is crazy. So in the university football, you know, college football, Nebraska Stadium was, I think, 92,000 capacity.
Wow.
You know, so that's like your varsity cup. That's the stadium is larger than Soccer City. And Nebraska in particular has been sold out since, I think, 1962 or 1963, where there's never been a seat available. You know, obviously for athletes, we could go in and experience that, but, you know, just the level, you can't really think about that level as a South African. It's just, it's
crazy.
Yeah.
It's totally crazy. Lariska, we see you. Thanks for joining. Leanne Gillies, or is it Gillies? Thanks for joining as well. Yeah, I mean, I think, have you ever won a corn hat?
Hey? Oh, a corn hat? No, yeah. Unless someone's got a picture of me wearing a corn hat, but no, I didn't own one. No, but no.
Yeah, the shocking
I don't think so.
All right, let's get back to the finance side of things. So obviously we're looking at when it comes to the transition. Obviously now you at the peak of your career or whatever, and you're looking at the transition into being a professional in the workspace, whatever. How do you manage that? I think I want to run until I'm like 89. You know.
Yeah, definitely. You know.
When is it a point for me to let go, man? When?
I think everybody who knows you're going to run until you're at 89. You know, until your legs fall off, and there's nothing wrong with it. You know, it's your passion and it's something that you do. You know, so you can keep on. You know, just the transition from being an athlete, you know, to a civilian afterwards has been extremely difficult. You know, and I don't think we talk about that enough.
Yeah.
When I speak to retired athletes, you know, they always say this transition is difficult. You know, but you never really experience. You can't really describe it in words. You know, and that's why I also tell the young athletes, you know, to try and plan for that day a little bit sooner, not just financially, but also mentally. You know, try and find a new passion. For me, I was lucky, you know, to get a new passion after I started running, and also working with Backtrack really helped as well. You know, having a business / athletics mindset. You know, so just getting mentally ready for that day, even if it's 2 years, 3 years out. You know, start working on a new passion. And financially also, it's going to make a big difference if you actually plan for it a little later. You know, so as an athlete, you're going to have 2 retirements. You know, so you're going to have the retirement from athletics, which is maybe about 5 years or 6 years after that, and then there's the boring retirement for old people. You know, and it's important to plan for both of it. You know, so if I say, okay, I want to run at least 1 more Olympics, so I have 4 more years. You know, start setting money aside for that. So if you decide, okay, I'm stopping, I'm moving on, then at least you have funds to cover your expenses for at least a year. You know, that's always my target goal. You know, to have expenses for at least a year, so you can start looking for a job during that year. You know, so you don't have to jump on the first available job just because you need a paycheck. You know, to actually plan it a little bit better, but you can't really do it without money. You know, so while you're young, while you're getting that big contracts, you know, start planning for that type of stuff.
That's solid advice. I mean, like you said, man, I don't think that's a conversation that isn't said enough. You know, we're gonna try to get on LJ Fansale as well as all other athletes that have transitioned into the professional workplace. You know.
Yeah, I definitely think we should get some professionals in there as well. You know, people working with you know, the mental side of it. You know, I think it's so important. It's valuable information for, you know, for our viewers.
Yeah. Kaden, we see you. I'm gonna take 2 questions here quickly. Shibodze Vutivi says, how was the experience and build up of running a world record race? You were in a world record race, man. You were in a world record race. Should I say it one more time? You were in a world record race. How was that?
I think just that experience alone, you can put on your bucket list, you know, because I think when you're a young athlete and you dream about athletics and you vision yourself, standing in the best lineup ever, running an Olympic final or running a world record race, and to actually be there and experience that was something you can't really explain. I think to the lead up, everybody know that Aries Merritt was going to break the record. And so it was just a matter of time. And it was actually the last race of the year. There was no other races. I think so. He also said that this was it. Because what happened to him afterwards is also he had medical issues, and he definitely wouldn't have run it at another stage if he didn't do it that day. But just being in that, just that call room with all the best guys in the world, that some of them who you looked up for such a long time is something you can't really explain.
Oh, that's amazing, man. So Caden, we're talking, what is it? What sport? Oh, yes. So Caden, if you just joined, we're speaking to Lehann Fourie, this former 110-meter SA and African record holder. So we're just chatting about athletics, we're chatting about life, and another thing. What I think this is a very important question, man. Like, obviously, you've achieved so much in your athletics career. What motivates you to want to give back? And like, obviously, sometimes, some of my idols and athletes that I looked up to, they ran and they finished. It's almost as if they didn't want to be part of athletics. What motivated you to get involved and being a co-founder of Backtrack Sports and EC Active? What motivated you to want to give back? I know it's difficult. You're seeing all these youngsters doing your event and you're like, I can beat you. So what motivated
you? I think that first year or two after you stop with athletics is probably the most difficult. It's like a bad breakup. Where I don't want to watch any Diamond Leagues. I didn't really want to talk to athletes, because you feel that, I could have been there. I definitely beat you last year. I definitely could have beat you again. So getting involved with Backtrack and EC Active was just a way for me to still have an arm's length worth of relationship with athletics. It forced me to keep the athletics in my life. To monitor the athletes and see what they're doing. And also, I've been privileged to be given a lot of opportunities growing up. I was in a very good high school and very good coaches throughout my life. And I think that's why we started the EC Active, also with the Olympic development camps that we run, just to try and give that back. And I think the one thing that we succeeded in so far is, for athletes by athletes, so everybody that we worked with is in athletics, was an athlete or is currently an athlete. So basically just building a network, assisting people, that's involved in athletics or maybe after athletics. So.
Yeah, that's some valuable information here, man. Like, absolutely. I think we've spoken about it before. I think we definitely have to have more of these conversations, because I think sometimes we end up having our idols and athletes that we looked up to getting lost, and they feel like there's no bridge between them coming back to the sport and helping, and and also, like you said, it's like a bad breakup, I think it shouldn't be a bad breakup. It shouldn't be an ace. We should find a way to transition it better so that all these guys can use their knowledge and experience.
Yeah, definitely, because that's what we did with the Eagles Club Classic Shootout is just bridging that gap between professional athletes and school athletes, because we see a big divide between the two. We have some of the best juniors and youth athletes in South Africa, and then a lot of them just fall away or, start working. They don't really turn professional. And that's why we started with the classic shootouts, to combine the two. And that's definitely what we're starting to work on is the next transition from a professional athlete, to afterlife. Well, not afterlife, that's a little bit too long, but just after athletics, for a lot of people that's life. But and that's why we're having this discussions, and hopefully, some of the viewers can learn something.
Absolutely.
Brandon Cohen, man.
Oh, you know him. I see Tumisang is asking here, what's the first thing to do This is gonna be the last question. We're gonna have to have like more of these financial. Obviously, today we just wanted to just touch base and just introduce people to start thinking of athletics as a professional career, and so on. He's asking, what's the first thing to do with your paycheck as an athlete? This will be the last question.
Yeah. Depending on how much it is, as I mentioned earlier, you have to sit with your financial planner and with your agent, just to go through a sort of plan. If you just have the cash, it's very easy to just start spending it. And then to get that back is extremely, extremely difficult. So allocate a certain percentage to whatever is essential in your life. You have to treat yourself in some way, and then also take a portion and save it for later or invest it for later. So you have to split it between the two. Personally, I also am a fan of giving, so depending on what you're interested in or what your belief system is, I always allocate a percentage towards giving as well.
Can you give a bit to me as well, man? Just in case, do you have any more to give?
No, we can talk about it, yeah.
Monia, we see you. Lehann Fourie is also here. That is your lovely wife. Thanks for watching. And I want to see you. What a talent. Here's a comment. Somebody says, what a talent. Not only a world-class athlete, could have made it to the Springboks or the Proteas. So,
yeah, thanks a lot.
Man, so obviously, that's the other side of you. You did play. You were good in more than one sport.
Yeah.
Can you just touch on that, and then I'm gonna wrap it up. I can't miss this question. That's a very good question or a comment.
Yeah. No, so I think growing up, I had the size, when I'm not sitting, I had the size and I had the speed, so rugby was a big passion. And like any young South African boy, you want to play for the Springboks. I think just in high school, I actually just started to realize that I have a talent in running. And that's why I started pursuing it, a little bit sooner. If I didn't pursue the athletics, I definitely would have liked to continue my rugby career. But I do think I made the right decision. I think there's a lot of countries that I saw which I wouldn't have seen, if I didn't, take the athletics path.
Absolutely, man. And I mean, you broke the African record. Fastest race ever.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But Lehann, I just want to thank you, man. Thanks so much for your time. We're going to have to continue the financial conversations because I think it's so important, man. We don't want, obviously, athletics is not like soccer or rugby where there is money at the top, but we need to somehow find a way to help the young athletes to manage that side of things properly as well.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Thanks for your time, man. Thanks for everything you've done for athletics. I don't think people realize how much you've done for athletics through Backtrack and through EC Active. I mean, you're the very person who called me on to say, listen, Timber, let's get working, man. That's the best decision you've ever made in your life, man.
That's what I wanted to say. Definitely the best decision in the business. But definitely the best decision,
Yeah, well, Mary Monia, we'll call that another good decision as well.
That has to be my first best decision, yes. Because she's listening.
All right, thanks a lot. We're going to obviously chat soon offline as well. But everybody watched. Thanks for watching BackChat. It's Tema Madima, aka Dariva Venda, #NDA. You were speaking to Lehann Fourie. Do you have a saying to close out as well or not?
No, I'll just use NDA as well. I'm part Venda anyway. So.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Hopefully, we'll catch you guys. We will catch you guys tomorrow again. Tomorrow we've got Anaso Jobodwana, who's going to be chatting with us as well. So that's going to be an interesting one. See you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in to BackChat, where we talk all things athletics, life, motivation. Sayonara.
Cheers.
Cheers.